How to draw and paint daffodils even if you've never done it before. I'm going to show you a formula that will work, and I'm really excited to share this with you because when I prepare these videos, I start out with an idea and then it just keeps evolving until I think that maybe, just maybe, it might be something that really helps you take the next step. Here I have a book from Better Homes and Gardens, A Grower's Guide to Bulbs, and I found a great section on daffodils. So in order to simplify the daffodil, when I first looked at it, I could see two triangular shapes. But then when I tried to draw the daffodil in various shapes based on that, it didn't always turn out right. So then I looked again, and this time saw a rectangle with two bits coming out the side. Somehow this looked easier to work with. Let's move on to the next one where the flower is facing down a little bit. So here we can clearly see the rectangle again, the diagonals, and the line going through the longer sides and through the middle. The cross is right in the middle of the flower and is the base of the trumpet. Now, as I lay in the uppermost edge of the trumpet, it's offset to the bottom right-hand corner because it's facing that way. I'm now going to use this framework to put the petals in. So I choose 3 alternating ones, 1, 2, and 3, and they'll be the top petals. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And then in the other 3 spots, the 3 petals that lay underneath. It's easy to rub out the whiteboard marker off the plastic. Even though the main thing with the petals is to face the center of the flower, I still like to know roughly how the flower goes, and then it gives me confidence in drawing it in different positions. To give us a really good grasp on the flower, I've decided to make a little model. I don't always do this, but I thought today would be a really good idea. So I'm drawing the rectangle that I saw earlier, and now putting diagonals through it, and then the other center line. Then I can draw my petals on top, and then cut it out. Daffodils aren't available in Australia at the moment because we're just heading into autumn now, or we've just started, and it's great to make a little model of something that you don't have at your fingertips. I have a whole treasure chest full of crafty little things that come in handy at these special times. Initially, I just pierced through the middle of the flower, but then thought I needed a bigger circle. I'm folding my little flower into quarters, and then I'll cut out a quarter circle from the back and have a bigger circle as the base of the trumpet. In my treasure chest, I found some cute little golden paddy paper cases for chocolates, I think, which I never made. Anyway, I folded it in half and in quarters, and then cut a slit to the middle, which helped me mold it into a cone. I then had to secure it with some sticky tape. My trumpet's just about ready to attach to the petals. I need to stick it down from the back. We need a stem, and I have a skewer for this. I'm just going to pierce it straight through the middle, and then I need to break my skewer to create an angle in it, but of course not completely. See how it goes. So if the daffodil is looking straight at us, we can see that the trumpet is a circle. If it's looking side on, we can see that we don't see much of the petals and that we can see the side of the trumpet. We can also see that the opening is a flat type of oval. We can even bend the petals a little bit. You know, they might be up like that. Maybe this one as well. You know, just creasing them a little bit. Can you see the rectangle? So from here, there's the rectangle, these ones go through. Or you can even see the rectangle like this. It doesn't matter which way you go, but I really find that that rectangle helps with placement or perspective. This is really good fun. Well, it is for me. Let's take our model and now draw this daffodil. You can see the angle goes like that. Here we have the base of the daffodil, and we can see the top of the trumpet, also called the corona, a bit like a crown you could say, and it's also an oval, the same type of oval as the base was. If it was looking at us, it would be a circle. So we could actually, put in the trumpet like this, and then we can see the rectangle behind, which is turned into a bit of a diamond. So now if we take every second petal, so that's one, this one, and this one, we'll put those in first. That's 1, 2, 3. And now we can put in these skinnier ones. And you can even see a little bit of that one at the back. And then, of course, we can pretty it up. There's the circle, which is a flattened circle. It's not a complete circle. And then we have our flattened circle here, but it's not as skinny as it was before. So now we have the trumpet like this, and we can see that we have our little reference rectangle there. And so if we were to choose 3 petals, 1, 2, 3, we'd put those in first. 1, 2, 3, and then the 2 underneath, always pointing to the center. So now that we've done that, now let's have a look at something else. We might be even viewing the flower from the bottom down. So we're seeing the bottom side, the wrong side of the petals. We can now see that the trumpet is only partially seen. And we can fit the petals again in the rectangle and use the rectangle as a guide, as the confining space. I see the flower a little bit differently to how you see it on the camera, and that just goes to show how every single little difference in angle can change the shape of the flower. Now we've done enough study and we need to do some painting. Okay, so now we're going to paint some daffodils. The first thing we need is a stalk. So let's do that, like that and across. I hope you can see that. And now we need a little base for our trumpet, and this one's an oval, so we need to make an oval up here, like that. And then we can actually complete the trumpet with 2 curved lines. And if you want to, you can get rid of that little line in there. I'm using Winsor & Newton Field Pocket Set for paints today, and the reverse side of Baohong cold press paper. Only because it's less grainy for the pencil, otherwise it'd be so hard to rub out the pencil. Now, you know how we did the rectangle? It could possibly be hard to put the rectangle in the right spot. So just getting back here to the paper, if I had this and I had a trumpet and I was to put the rectangle, let's say here, and then I would miss the mark. So to make life easier, let's just put the diagonals through the base of the flower. There we go. I want you to see these lines. Okay. And let's say one out here and the other one's going to be on the other side. All right. Now, just so that we don't have too many lines, now let's blot that out a little bit. We can still see the lines, so hopefully you can too. So now let's have some lemon yellow and a little bit of Windsor yellow and pull lines in towards the center. I'm using a Polina Bright number 1 mop brush here, and also paint the trumpet. There we have it. Actually, we can make the trumpet a little bit less straight. And now with some raw sienna, I haven't washed my brush. I'm just dabbing it into a little bit of raw sienna, and we can go over the pencil line like that. The paint is still wet, so these will just blend in beautifully. Now, when it comes to the trumpet, we're going to not go over the round pencil line, but do a little shape like, instead of doing that, we are going to break it up like that. So let's do that. It'll just make the flower look so much more organic. And then a few lines up, and there's our first little unfinished daffodil. Okay, now let's do another. Let's say the next one was looking at us. So here's a stem. Here's our stem. It's on an angle there. We'll put a round bit of the trumpet there, and because it's in the middle, we'll put the corona there. And now, because we're looking at it straight on, this rectangle can be a little bit wider. So we can go like that. That's wider than that. And now we can come in with our petals. They're going to overlap. So see how that one's wider? Now for a bit of raw sienna. No water, and just go over those lines. So just the middle one, and really quickly over the sides, and we'll just leave it like that. And for the last one, we could say there and down. There is the base of the trumpet, and there is the top of the corona. Because it's all side on, the petals are going to be very narrow. So here's my little cross diagonals. It's actually, I'm going to make it even more narrow than that. So I've lost my stem. So here's the stem, here's the bottom of the trumpet, and now there's the petals. So now I can put in these, and they're quite thin as well. And even this one will be just like that. So I can put in the trumpet and the little wide bit like that. Now let's go for some raw sienna and just go over those lines very, very lightly. And there's that one. Now let's mix up some really bright orange. So I'm taking some more Windsor yellow, the tiniest little bit of Windsor red, and I am going to go to this one first and do a squiggly little line and a squiggly little line. It's still very yellow, isn't it? A little bit more red. If this video has helped you draw or maybe even paint daffodils for the first time, let me know. I'd really love to hear from you. Also, you might have questions about something. Let me know in the comments below. All right, now a little bit more, no dipping in water or anything, just picking up more paint, thicker paint, and adding a little bit more in there. I just realized that I haven't masked out the anthers, so we're going to have to do it a different way. All right, never mind. I'm now going to add a little bit of orange like this on the side, a broken line that suggests a little bit of light. And now I'm washing my brush and I'm going to wipe it dry and just blend a little bit of this out. And blend a little bit of that orange out into the flower, which makes it look like it has a light corona rim. And now if I add a little bit of lightness colour out of there, put a bit of light back in, we can still put the masking fluid in to have some nice little anthers. I would like to put some of this nice orange over here. Not dipping my brush into water at all, just picking up the paint as it is. Even getting a little bit more thicker paint for the top of the corona, just a little bit like that. A little bit of squiggly line over here. And then again with a thicker orange, where I want the colours to be deeper, I will just put a little bit in like that. Now let's leave that for now and go on to the stems. So I have some sap, permanent sap, and a little bit of raw sienna. Oh, yellow ochre is good too. Now, if it's more comfortable to make a stalk by turning the paper, that's what you do. I'm going to break up the green a little bit, just with a few little bits like that, just so that I can fit in the little papery bit. I have to find out how to pronounce that, but anyway, I'm going to make a line down now. And this one, it's really good because we can see it, but I'm also going to break that up and do it like that. Now we can put in some leaves. I'm coming in here between the petals first and on the outside. Now I'll pull the leaf down. Our daffodils are really taking shape. If you've come this far, you can really give yourself a pat on the back. You now know how to structure a daffodil and can draw and paint it from any position you like. The rest is simply adding a few more details and shadows. More sap green with a little bit of ultramarine now. Did you know that my family roots are in Slovenia, a little country in southern Europe bordering with Italy, Austria, Hungary and Croatia? Slovenia has a beautiful mountain range, and within it is a particular mountain called Golica, and in spring it's absolutely covered in daffodils. And even add a little splash of water down there to diffuse it all. I'm using a little bit of raw sienna to put in the little brown papery bit at the base of the daffodil. This is called the spathe, and it's the protective leaf that covers the bud until the flower's ready to bloom. The painting's now dry, and I've put some masking fluid here on some scrap paper, and with another little piece picking it up and adding some anthers to the middle of the daffodil. And let that dry. As I'm waiting for the anthers to dry, I'm going to add a little bit of shadow to the spathes. So that can easily be done by first mixing a little bit of purple with ultramarine blue and the crimson, and then adding a tiny little touch of that to the raw sienna, and it'll make it darker. To add some deeper shadows to the daffodils, the yellow parts, I'm mixing some more of this purple, adding to the yellow, and then this will make a beautiful natural shadow for the yellow petals on the daffodils. It becomes like a greeny colour, and I'll just test it on some paper, adding a little bit more of the Windsor yellow in there. So it's like a soft green, really, the shadow. I'm placing this shadow colour on the petal, but making sure to leave that little light bit around the corona. It just makes it stand out. And then I need to wash my brush and blend it out. Did you know that daffodils are great in garden beds, but when you plant them, make sure to have them on their own, because the stems of daffodils can actually affect other plants and make them die. So they're beautiful just on their own. I might put a little bit more of this colour just in there. And you'll sometimes see the petals fold over, so there's a little bit of light has caught onto that, and there's a little bit of shadow underneath that. Everything I'm doing now is just fine-tuning the shadows and the details and the contrast of the daffodils. And you know, I could keep going forever, but there is a time to stop. Anyway, did you know that there's about 50 species of daffodils? I'm just adding a few more little shadows and waiting for that masking fluid to dry, but we'll get right onto that now. The masking fluid is dry now, so for the deep center of the daffodil, I'm mixing some more of my purple, which is the ultramarine and the crimson. Now, if I was to add yellow to that, it would turn black. Don't want that, but I am adding a little bit more Windsor red to it, and that will make it like a deep burgundy color. And so now I just add that to the little area around the anthers, and then blend it out a bit. I'm adding a tiny bit more of the deep orange mix that we had with Windsor red and the Windsor yellow to deepen the trumpet. I'm using the color that's already on my brush and deepening the shadows underneath the trumpet. Sometimes even if you think it's not quite the right color, but because it's the same color, it just adds a bit of harmony to everything and makes it look right. And then I wash my brush and dry it and blend it out a bit. See that broken U shape on the bottom daffodil? Just makes it, instead of being round. and on the top one. I am just fussing about now, so really we could call it a day, and I really do hope that this has given you confidence. Just before I rub out the masking fluid, I'm adding a touch of a darker orange or nearly red to the bottom side of the corona. It just makes it. But only to that one because that's the one in focus. I don't want to add it to the top one or the bottom one, just over there. Just got the hairdryer on the painting to make sure it's all super dry, and then I can rub out the masking tape. If you've come this far and you've done some painting, good on you, because you've achieved something. I'd love to see what you've been able to create, whether it's a drawing or a painting. Thanks heaps for watching, and see you next time.